In the jungle of a certain village, a boy named Lloyd tries to hunt a horned rabbit but failed, and the cute-looking rabbit ran away after giving him some scratch on his face. Just then, his brother named Shoma returned home from his adventure and killed the very same rabbit. Shoma asks Lloyd does he want to go outside, to which he replies yes, then Shoma gives him an adventure book as a souvenir. Lloyd happily accepts the gift. Years later, Lloyd moved to the Azumi kingdom with the intention of becoming a soldier. He meets a witch of East Side, Marie. He introduces himself to her and asks her to allow him to stay with her, which she refuses to let him in and tells him to go back to where he came. Lloyd tells he came from the village named Kunlun and his village chief name is Alka. Then he shows her a crystal as his village chief told him to do. The magic crystal just starts glowing and Lloyd's village chief, or also Marie's master, Alka, appears. She tells Marie to take care of Lloyd until he becomes a soldier. Marie is down to her knees and asks a question, but Alka says, this is not a real self. Marie starts abusing her but returns back to her knees again when Alka says she lied to her. As Alka leaves, Marie tries to destroy the magic crystal, calling Alka Dame Lowly Grandma. Then Maria let Lloyd to use a room. While Marie is wondering about Lloyd, Alka appears from behind. She used the magic crystal to teleport there. She warns Marie that she could turn her into a frog for the rest of her life if she thinks about Lloyd. Before leaving, Alka put a curse repeated misfortune on Marie as punishment, calling her Lowly Grandma previously. The next morning, Lloyd cooks breakfast for Marie before she wakes up. At breakfast, Marie asks Lloyd why he wants to become a soldier. Lloyd explains that he is the weakest kid from his village and compared to his brother he can't do anything. He tells her it took him 6 days to get here. Marie thinks he took a train, but Lloyd says he ran all the way. Marie then asks him if encountered any monsters on his way. He says there were not any monsters, but he did encounter some wild animals, which are monsters for normal people, and quite a shock for Marie. The next day, Lloyd visits the town. At an alley, a girl known as Belt Princess is being attacked by Locust's monster. Lloyd arrives and beats the monster like some insect. Then the girl introduces herself as Cellin. At her home, Cellin reveals the belt was cursed onto her as a child and was told only great strength would remove it. Just then the belt simply falls off. Cellin thinks might be because she met Lloyd. The next day, officers Marthohin and Cholin are watching over all cadets. Among them is an ex-criminal, Raiho, who senses Lloyd is extremely dangerous. Cellin shows extreme jealousy when Lloyd talks to Raiho. Exam starts. Meanwhile, Marie reveals Lloyd is probably one of the strongest humans in the world because he comes from Kunlun. Lloyd fails in the exam. Next morning in the academy, Cellin, Raiho, and officers Marthohin are confused as to why Lloyd failed. Officer Cholin announced that whoever finds missing Princess Maria will get a reward. Meanwhile, on the street, Lloyd comes across a job flyer. Then he visits the shop. After sensing his aura, shop owner attacks him, thinking Lloyd could be the spy who comes to gather information because he was an ex-royal guard. But Lloyd asks him for part-time job. Then Lloyd explains that he failed in the military exam and needs a job until the next exam. At the academy, Officer Cholin and others discover Lloyd failed his written test because he wrote ancient runes. Back at the restaurant, owner Chrome hires Lloyd. Cellin decides to find Marie and have Lloyd admitted to the academy as her reward. Lloyd returns home and tells Alka and Marie that failed an exam, then asks Marie to let him stay until the next exam, also tells them that he got a part-time job. Later, Marie wants Alka to help her to save the kingdom from the one possessing the king and planning war against another empire, but Alka refuses as her villagers are only allowed to fight against demon lords or similar, and also warns not to involve Lloyd either. When Alka leaves, she again put the curse on her that activates whenever she calls her Lowly Grandma. Marie then throws the crystal into the water well. While searching for Lloyd, Marthohin and Raiho visit Chrome restaurant. They notice it becomes more crowded and is surprised to see Lloyd working there. Lloyd sees some soldiers running and followed them. Cellin gets in a fight with fellow noble student Alan. Alan attacks her, but cured belt protects her, which she now wears at her waist, which she takes as another sign Lloyd is her soulmate. When Lloyd and other arrives, Cellin declares he is her champion and will fight Alan for her. As its Lloyd officers force Alan to fight him, Alan agrees, thinking he can impress the officers. Alan gives Lloyd a chance to hit him first. Marie swoops in and steals Lloyd away with wind magic before he can kill Alan by accident. Lloyd mistakenly assumes Marie saved him from Alan. Then they confront Chrome, who recognizes her as the missing Princess Maria. Chrome sent Lloyd ahead. Marie reveals that whoever is manipulating her father will likely have him declare war at a summit in 3 days and requests Chrome's help. Cellin and Raiho reach Marie's home and find Lloyd there, quite a shock for Cellin. Marie also arrives. Then they ask Marie about missing Princess. Raiho starts suspecting Marie's identity. Just as Marie is about to reveal, Lloyd blurts out that Marie is the hero who saves people in secret and asks let him help to save the kingdom. She takes advantage of this and tells Lloyd he is just a weakling. Lloyd leaves with sad expression. Marie then reveals her true identity as a princess and tells them that she had to do this to not involve Lloyd because he belongs to the legendary village Kunlun. She explains the current situation of the kingdom and asks for their help to save the kingdom. Later, while Marie's sitting alone, Alka appears. She praises Marie for keeping Lloyd out of it, but then punishes her for dropping her magic crystal down a well. The next day, Cellin and Raiho start gathering information from locals and assassins. Later in the castle, according to the information Cellin and Raiho gathered, Chrome accuses Merthohin of cursing the king, which he admits is true. As Marie, Raiho and Cellin arrive, the king suddenly reveals he is possessed by demon. It reveals that he was actually controlling Merthohin. Then he turned Merthohin into a demon. While everyone holding Merthohin, Marie chases after her father. She meets the demon who possesses her father. She then starts attacking him, hoping to use one of Lloyd's runes to free him from possession, but failed. Demon breaks her hand containing the rune. Then the demon reveals himself as Demon Lord Abaddon. Marie recalls Alka's words and realizes a demon lord is something Lloyd is allowed to fight and runs away to find Lloyd. Outside the castle, Lloyd finds Alan hiding from locust monsters. Alan is shocked to see when Lloyd defeats the Bifinger Flick. Before leaving, Lloyd encouraged him to act like a soldier. Then encouraged Alan fights and defeat the monster. Alka later destroys the monsters for ruining her romantic plans for Lloyd. Inside the castle, Chrome, Raiho, and Cellin is still fighting Merthohin. Lloyd arrives at right time. Merthohin attacks him, but Lloyd slaps him and tries to convince him with words, while appealing to Merthohin's desire to be a true soldier. It seems working until he says that Merthohin is drunk and causing trouble for everyone. Merthohin reverts back into a monster and attacks Lloyd. Lloyd defeats him with a headbutt. Just then Marie rushes into the room, glad to see Lloyd there. Abaddon also arrives. Lloyd thinks of Abaddon as another drunk man who is wearing King's costume. Marie then tells Lloyd that she has already defeated the Demon Lord, but when she was resting that man starts following her. She asks Lloyd to clean the king's face. Which he does. It purges Abaddon from the king's body. The next day in the city, Lloyd meets his brother Shoma. Shoma disappears before Alka sees him. Chrome rejoins the army while Merthohin is exiled to Kunlun for labor work. Marie decides to remain a witch instead of being a princess. Lloyd also gets accepted into the academy. While Marie wonders who recommended Lloyd, Cellin and Raiho comes to pick him up. Alka clashes with Cellin over Lloyd and realizes her belt is a relic that went missing from Kunlun years ago. Alan also joins them. Lloyd deduces Alan is the who recommend him. Annoyed with everyone, Marie banishes Alka back to Kunlun through her crystal and sends Lloyd and his friends to school. A certain night, Chrome and Marie take Lloyd on a trash collection job, which is a half-truth told by Marie. On his job he draws a holy sword from a stone. Following morning in the academy, Cellin cancels all theory the class and announces the inter-academy match against Rakuju Academy. After Cellin explains all types of major magic, all the students do practice some magic. After that, Cellin asks Cellin to teach her healing magic. Lloyd also joins them. Marie meets sisters Mina and Philo of Rakuju Academy, who are searching for Raiho. When Lloyd arrives, because of his powerful aura, Philo instinctively attacks him, which Lloyd thinks that she was just trying to kill a fly. Lloyd tells them about Raiho. Philo asks Lloyd to become her master. Annoyed, Marie then throw them outside the home. Later, Marie, when thinking about enjoying her life with Lloyd, Alka appears. She turns her into a butterfly. Same night, Marie finds herself in an awkward position in front of Lloyd. The next day in the academy, Roll, Rakuju's headmistress, comes to take Raiho back, but Raiho angrily refuses. Seeing Raiho upset all day, Lloyd asks Marie how to cheer up a girl. Marie, thinking about herself, advised him for a date with that certain girl. The next day, Lloyd asks Raiho on a date thanks to Marie's advice. Raiho reveals that she grew up in an orphanage where she met Roll. Roll taught her magic and also gave Mithril her arm. But she ran away when she realized that Roll only wants the arm to pull the holy sword, and the arm drain magic to boost its ability. The next day in the practice match, Makona, a second-year student, shows up. She tries to outdo Lloyd by replacing him in fight, but is instantly defeated by Philo. After that, Makona goes to Marie's house to heal her injury. Mikkonen scene 2 has crush on Marie. Lloyd return home and after seeing Marie getting along with Lloyd, she feels jealous and runs away. Then tell her story to Shoma. The next day, as the matches begin, Raiho swears to defeat Roll. Chrome announces the grand prize is the Holy Sword. Before the match, Raiho asks Cholline to teach her healing magic. The first match is between Cellin and Philo, but is disqualified when she physically strikes Philo with her belt. The next match is between Lloyd and Mina. She tries to use water magic to suffocate him. But after 20 minutes passed and Lodi's still alive, she creates hug water wall him to isolate him. Lloyd then counter her with his water magic and wins the match. Final match is between Raiho and Roll. Roll removes Raiho's prosthetic arm. Raiho punches Roll and use explosion magic with the help to magic stone which she hide inside her arm by healing magic. Raiho then begins chanting a high-level water spell, causing Roll to pass out from fear. After the fight, Roll had a dream where she was guided by someone to draw out the holy sword. Roll wakes up furious and learns a witch, who lives with a young man, retrieved the holy sword. She orders Philo to take the witch's brother hostage. But Philo misunderstands the order and steals Alka's magic crystal. Lloyd returns, and he finds Marie's jewelry and a ransom letter. Thinking that Marie has been kidnapped, he immediately rushes to rescue her, joined by Alan. Philo blocks their way and attacks Lloyd, demanding duel. He agrees and hands over the sword to Alan, then he insists arm wrestling match. Meanwhile, Alan is attacked by Roll's man, but Mina saves him. In the duel between Lloyd and Philo, Lloyd finally manages to defeat Philo. Philo decides to marry Lloyd. Inside the tower from where Roll watching the Malka appears. She blasts the tower along with Roll following an insult. Then, Alan saves Roll from the river. The day Alan is unintentionally credited with saving the town. Meanwhile, an unknown magician seems to manipulate Roll's memory. Roll recalls that she only wants to rebuild their failing orphanage with Raiho visitor, and peels apple for her. Summer beaks start, and Cellin reveals that she is summoned by her family. Alan also tells that he is being called for arranged marriage meeting. Later, Lloyd tells Marie and Akla that he took a job as a cleaner at a hotel that Chrome introduces him, and asks them not to come, much to their disappointment. The owner Koba is waiting outside for Lloyd, suddenly feels chills through his spine when he senses Lloyd's aura. Koba informs Lloyd there is something that keeps attacking his worker and introduces him to Kikyu, a maid working there. Koba order her to teach all the work to Lloyd. To avoid her work, she order Lloyd to clean all the bath, but shocks to see when Lloyd clean all the bath before she could finish her speech. Then Koba asks Lloyd to attend a notoriously difficult guest, Lord Threonine. He asks Lloyd's opinion on a cypress forest his family takes care of, and impressed by his answer. Later at night, Threonine meets Kikyu and shares his suspicions that Koba is illegally raising treants in the forest. He also tells her that the local lord wants his daughter to marry his son Alan. As treants are linked to demon lords, Kikyu suspects Lloyd is possessed due to his ability to undo the possession. Threonine gives her an antidote. She mixes it into Lloyd's tea. Just then, Koba shows up. He tells Lloyd to take some rest and drink the tea instead. Kikyu flees and Koba suspects Kikyu and Threonine. Next morning, Raiho shows up in hotel as guest. Cellin and her father also arrive, and Cellin is forced to attend the marriage meeting with Threonine's son Alan. At their meeting, Cellin is thinking of ways to kill Alan. However, Cellin is overjoyed when Lloyd appears instead and run away with him. Lloyd then explains that Threonine asked Lloyd to stand in for Alan after he had passed out, and Raiho is working stand-in for Lloyd. Cellin immediately suggests go on a date so they can investigate the local area. Shoma arrives with a delivery of firebombs that Cellin previously ordered. Cellin leaves all the work to Raiho and go on date with Lloyd. Determined to expel Lloyd's treant, Kikyu is keeping an eye on Lloyd and finally gets her chance. She convinces him to have an antidote massage but is forced to stop when Cellin sees her trying to stick the antidote down Lloyd's pants. Kikyu flee after putting some fight. Then Cellin suggests Lodi to hot spring without telling the truth. Lloyd enters the bath, not realizing it is mixed bathing, and Cellin's lewd plans are interrupted by the arrival of Raiho and other girls. Mina tells them she is investigating a recent event under the kingdom's order. Philo throws Alka outside when sees Lloyd's sword. In the jungle, Kikyu meets Minoki, Threonine's secretary, who reveals he is responsible for the Treants and turns himself into Treants. While looking for Alka, Lloyd also arrives and thinks Minoki wearing a tree costume to impress Threonine. Demon Lord Eric possesses Minoki's body. Lloyd easily deals with the Treants while Erkling heads for the hotel. Inside the hotel, Cellin's father reveals he has been legally dealing in Treants with Shoma as Threonine representative. Minoki breaks the window and tries to attack Koba and others, but Cellin and other girls save them. Cellin's father saves her from debris. While Raiho and Alan distract Demon Lord with the firebombs, Mina use her water magic, and with the Raihos they freeze the demon. Lloyd finally shows up and saves Cellin and her father from debris. Then he tears out Erkling's demon core, returning Minoki to normal. In the jungle, Alka confronts Shoma, who buried her in the ground. He leaves after revealing he has been working with one of her enemies. After that, Elan's father cancels her marriage. Alka tries to get a massage from Lloyd, but he performs a suplex instead. Shoma introduces Makona to a priest named Father Su. As she wants to kill Lloyd, they give her an item that transforms her into a monster. Meanwhile, Cellin and Raiho come to pick Lloyd to the castle because the king asks Lloyd and his friends to defeat a giant snake in a new dungeon. In the castle, Cellin explains the details. Su decides to defeat the snake before anyone. Alka also decides to follow Su. As for dungeon's location, she takes Maria with her. Lloyd and the girls enter the dungeon. Few moments later, Alka and Marie also arrives. Alka leave Marie alone and go to search Su. Marie then come across Makona in the dungeon infected by a treant. Since Makona had been waiting for Lloyd, she restrains Marie and say her to call Lloyd for help. When Lloyd arrives, Makona challenges him for the fight, which he accepts. After hearing the noise their fight, other girls also arrives. Makona targets the girls and Lloyd got hurt in order to save them. Makona claims Lloyd's friends have made him weak, but Lloyd claims they are one who helped him become a real soldier and starts the fight again. After quite intense battle, Lloyd manages to defeat her and throws her outside the dungeon. The commotion of the fight causes awakening of Giant Snake, who seemed familiar with Lloyd. He introduces himself as the guardian of Kunlun, Vitra, and also the source of Alka's power. While Marie wonders who transformed Makona, Suo shows up. He asks Lloyd what he looks like to him, which Lloyd replies, "A bad guy." Alka finally finds the Su. While everyone is busy talking, Su attack Vitra and kill him. Alka attacks Su still has her power, which is supposed to be gone. Vitra reveals he avoids death by passing his soul into Cellin's belt. Su teleports away, promising to unlock Kunlun's dungeon. Meanwhile, Alan attacks a dragon-like shadow, and other soldiers think Alan's power collapses the dungeon. Alka teleports everyone safely. After that, due to a mix-up, the king grants Alan the title Dragon Slayer. Lloyd realizes Su is the name of a hero from a fairy tale. Alka later kidnaps Cellin and Vitra, claiming she needs them in Kunlun. To celebrate peace between Azami and Jayu, an exhibition match is arranged. Meanwhile, except for Alan, everyone is accompanied to Kunlun by Lloyd, including Cellin and Chrome. Chrome explains that Alan is forced to fight in the exhibition match under the king's order. They enter a cave where they meet Yugu, a dwarven resident of Kunlun. Yugu transfers them to Kunlun through the gate. Upon arriving at Kunlun, they are surprised to see how overpowered the villagers are. Cellin asks Alka about Murthafin location, then Cellin and Chrome visit Murthafin, who is working on the farms. Chrome asks him to return back to Empire, but he declined their offer. Meanwhile, Cellin introduces herself to Lloyd's family and tries to get their signature on the marriage licenses, but interrupted when a dragon shows up. Her plans are foiled when several children turn her marriage licenses into weapons to drive the dragon away. Later, everyone has dinner together, and after dinner, Cellin is furious when Raiho and Philo manage to impress Lloyd's relatives except her. Elsewhere, Alka and Yugu discuss Su, Vitra revealing they erased Vitra's memory for an unexplained reason. Mirthafin apologizes to Marie and reveals a merchant gave him an egg, after which the king becomes possessed. Although his memory is still hazed, he remembers a particular phrase that Marie has heard before. The next day early morning, in order to reconstruct Vitra's body, everyone arrives at Kunlun's last dungeon. Alka reveals that Kunlun's dungeon is actually a prison holding multiple demon lords, and the villagers are its guards, and also holds a mysterious power. Now because Alka forgot Vitra's importance, the dungeon is in danger of being unlocked. Yugu reveals the holy sword is key. Then she summons a kitchen setup and starts the reconstruction process of Vitra's body, seal him inside an egg. It renders Alka powerless until it hatches. Yugu says everyone to leave. Lloyd goes to the village to say goodbye to everyone. You then take Alka alone to the jungle, where she betrays Alka. She reveals that she was waiting for Alka to be powerless before beginning her plan to open the dungeon herself and take over the world with the dungeon's power. Also reveals to make her plan successful she is working with Shoma and Sue. She leaves after trapping her inside the cave. Then Yugu meets with everyone and sends them ahead without Lloyd, saying she will wait and come with him later. However, Raiho suspects her before leaving. A few moments later, when Lloyd arrives, she tells him that everyone went ahead without him and sends him to search Alka. Everyone returned to the kingdom. Mirthafin also comes along without anyone's notice. He tells he only wants to give vegetables to Marie. Yugu tells them that she closed the gate and leaves Lloyd with Alka. Later in the city, Raiho meets Mina, and then they visit Roll at the hospital. Raiho asks Roll about the person who alters her memory. Roll explains that she still not remembers his appearance, but he said to her what does he look like to her, and there was also a child behind him. Based on Roll description, Raiho suspects Yugu. Later, at the match, Raiho sees the king accompanied by Shoma and Sue. Suspicious, Raiho asks the king to cancel the match. Meanwhile, in the Kunlun's jungle, Lloyd manages to locate Alka and freeze her. Inside the castle room, Yugu, Shoma, and Sue are planning their next move. Back at Kunlun, with the help of villagers, Alka uses a cannon to blast Lloyd back to the Azami kingdom. Meanwhile, in the kingdom, the exhibition match starts. Alan is up against Makona in her monster form. Sue suggests King Azami to join hands with him and with help of monster power take over the world, but the king refuses the offer because he doesn't want to cause trouble again. Yugu then summons lots of locust monsters and keeps all audience as a hostage. But the kingdom already planned for this and replace all audiences with soldiers and adventures. Mirthafin arrives and challenges Shoma to a fight. Mirthafin changes his clothes into a battle agriculture costume and attacks Shoma. Shoma admits the world is too boring, so he plans to start a war so Lloyd could become a hero and him out. At the same time, Allah managed to injure Sue with his surprise attack. Sue reveals that he is an artificial being created by Alka hundreds of years ago to save the world. However, after he completed his task, he was unable to die. Therefore, his plan is to have Lloyd kill him. Just then Lloyd arrives. He accuses Yugu that she couldn't reconstruct Vitra's body, so she ran away and closed the gate so that no one could come after her. Marie plays along and tells him that they are unable to start the match because of the pests Yugu brought with her. Yugu then summons a giant golem monster. The golem sucks Makona in and starts using her as power source. Lloyd fights with the golem, but due to its regeneration ability unable to destroy it completely and also takes some damage. When Lloyd starting to lose his hope of winning, Mirthafin shows up. He pushes back the golem and motivates Lloyd to act like a real soldier. Raiho manages to lure away Makona from the golem with Marie's panties. Meanwhile, Cellin steals back Vitra's egg from Yugu and verbally torments him into turning it back into a belt. Motivated, Lloyd finally defeats the golem monster. On the other hand, Shoma and Sue shot a video of Lloyd's heroic actions. Alka arrives with her powers restored. Before Alka could punish Yugu, Shoma takes her and leaves, Sue promising Lloyd to do more evil deeds for him. In the end, Alan gains another title, and Lloyd returns to his daily life without knowing what actually happened. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, comment, share the video and subscribe to the channel.